Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an accomplished entrepreneur from the world of EdTech from UK, but speaking to us today from Dubai, Mr. Alexander Zheltov. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. It's a big pleasure to be here
Thank you.
and looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you. Alex is the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Educate Online, which is a global education and technology company dedicated to making education accessible worldwide. He's also been recognized as a Forbes 30 under 30. So, Alex, tell me a little bit about your journey and what was the inspiration to create Educate Online?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ashutosh, once again. In terms of my journey, I'm originally from Moscow, Russia. At the age of 10, I've moved to study to the UK, and I've studied in UK, Germany, United States since then. And when I was studying in the UK, at first I was coming from a very hard skills-oriented system, which was in Russia. And then I came to a system in the UK, which was more about personalization in terms of education. So more about understanding which path you're on, about allowing the students to actually pursue their study path. And I was really surprised by my teachers asking me a question like, what do you want to study? I thought I'll never hear that question in my life. So I was a really great student in the UK, and I really excelled in that system. And once I've graduated from Cass Business School, which is now called Base Business School in the UK, I've at first founded a business which was basically like an agency helping students from Eastern Europe, from China at the time to study in the world's best schools and kind of to transition from their schools to offline schools elsewhere, mostly boarding schools.
Right.
And what happened next was I saw that there is great demand for international education. There is a great demand for quality education, but then there is two boundaries that the students and the parents face. One of the boundaries is that there is a high cost associated with studying abroad, and that's a high financial cost. But now I'm also a father of a daughter. She has recently turned 1, and I understand how hard it is for parents, and I'll probably understand it even more later, how hard it is for parents to let their kids go somewhere else, like on another continent, to another continent to study. So there's a psychological factor there as well as the financial factor. So in 2018, I've actually started Educate Online to bring the world's best education, world's most personalized education at a fraction of a cost of what it would cost to study in these boarding schools to students in emerging countries. And since then, we've entered 27 countries, including India, including Nigeria, Brazil, Kazakhstan, and many, many others.
Amazing.
And we really enjoy contributing to students all over the world.
Amazing. So, how does Educated Online make education more accessible globally, particularly in the underserved regions?
Thank you so much. Great question. So first thing I would say, accessibility is about the price. Basically, if you are, if you need to pay $50,000 for education per year, that's just a significant ticket, and you'll not be able to reach a large audience. But if you maybe discount that to $500 a year, you will be able to serve a much larger market. Then, of course, so we really try to cut out the bits from the education that are the most important, the most vital. What we found is that students from emerging countries really love interacting with teachers from the West and from Australia and New Zealand as well. And they bring out a different student in them, so to say. And different traits compared to the teachers in the emerging countries. And we also found that at first, when we founded the company, we thought that students will study entirely online. And during COVID, that was true. After COVID, we understood that this is not the way to go. So we started a program, which is now in India, for example, working in DPS Haridwar, and looking at other DPS schools in India and many other places. Basically, we started an after-school program, which means that the students would study TBSC curriculum in the first half of the day, maybe until 2 or 3 p.m. And then they will spend 2 or 3 hours per day studying international curriculum. And this way, they have the accessibility in terms of a time commitment, because we will recount the credits that they have achieved. They don't need to repeat maths, let's say, or any other subject twice. We can actually take whatever they've done in the local system and transition it into the international system. Another thing, of course, is the accessibility in terms of platforms. So we use both video live lessons and also asynchronous content. And it's a mixture, and it's always about finding what will motivate the students more, where will we have the best engagement. So the whole approach is very data-driven. And I think every day with the introduction of AI in the space, I think it becomes even more data-driven right now.
Well said. Thank you. And Alex, how do you ensure the quality and consistency of education across different countries and cultures?
I think one thing is just to treat all the students the same, which is part of the Western educational system. There's no kind of no one from the teachers or from the admin side or from the EO team side is saying that these students are like that and these students are like that. I think we treat everyone as an international student. That helps. And the students see themselves, even though they might be somewhere now in India or in Nigeria or the country that they're from, they are studying internationally online and they see themselves as international students already. So that's one thing. Second thing is to offer flexibility and choice to the students. So we now have over 200 subjects on offer, which allows the students basically to pursue their path in terms of education and not look to limit themselves, and actually to try things prior to committing to full-time studies of one subject or the other at university, because a lot of the times the kids may not know what the subject is really like. And I've had that problem when I was thinking I want to become, let's say, a film director. So I did a bit of directing and said, all right, great. I would like to direct, but maybe direct companies, not films, So it's definitely challenging for the students because it's a new way to study, but I think they actually have fun with that challenge as well, because through these challenges, they grow and they discover their new selves.
Very interesting. And how do you partner with local governments or NGOs to expand access to education in remote areas?
We actually, right now, we're more in talks with them, but we're listening to them. We do not necessarily partner with local governments yet, just because our approach has been more B2B. So at first we went B2C, so we did direct marketing to students and to parents. Then we transitioned more to a B2B2C approach, which means that we'll partner with local schools. Mostly it's private schools of different size. And it might be school networks, or it might be just schools that we work with. Now the third kind of pillar that we are currently looking at is NGOs and governments. What we do is just we'll listen to what is happening. I'm in Dubai for probably 6-7 months from this time. And I will be talking to the local officials here to understand the challenges that they're facing and just to understand how we can contribute to them. So I think this is more work in progress, but I'll be happy to update you once I have a full answer.
And how has technology transformed the way you deliver education?
So one thing in terms of the business model, it has really transformed the whole business model, because at first it was offline delivery of content, then we switched to online. And at first we're actually building our own platforms, like video conferencing, LMSs. At the same time, right now, most of the students would use Zoom, because imagine if we invest $1 million into our video conferencing platform and Zoom will invest a couple of $100 million, the results that they would arrive at would be much more significant, and the contribution will be better. At the same time, I think when it comes to new technologies, we're now heavily investing into AI, which will allow not to teach the students in a different way, but actually to gather more data and to personalize the student's journey. We are creating such a thing called AI Counselor, which will always, like, the idea is for every student worldwide to have a counselor that will know them better than they know themselves, basically, that will understand what is their school life like, what are their hobbies, what are they inspired about, what do they want to achieve, and really guide the students on their personal path. So we really believe in personalization of education, and through the choice of subjects and online delivery, we've achieved some part of that. But I think in the next 5 to 10 years, both our company and the whole industry will transform. And our intention is just to lead this transformational journey.
Thank you. And the other question relating to online is that how do you address the digital divide? Because you're working in a lot of countries and some areas are probably not served well by internet or underserved.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think when we started the company in 2018, it was more apparent that internet was very expensive. For example, in Egypt or in Nigeria, just not even the level of service, but the cost of the internet is very high. So a household could have been paying maybe $500 a month for internet across all devices. And I imagine it's a ton of money for these regions.
Absolutely.
We've seen that the technologies have improved since then. So Starlink is one of the options, and there's also more local provision. That's one thing. And this is not our win. This is more about the infrastructure and technology development that has been happening that we sort of take advantage of. And we're grateful that these investments were made. At the same time, we've developed a tool that allows, it's a bit like a device that allows you to store your content inside it. Then once you're in a place where there is low internet connectivity, you launch it as a router, and you can have around 50 or 60 students access that content. And there's lots of videos and other things. So you basically create a local internet with a use of this SSD drive plus the router. Yeah, we are willing to test that in the next couple of months. That's more probably for Africa, where internet is in a lot of the places is still a big issue. And also it's about cost, right? Because this device, it will cost maybe $100 in production each once we get to mass scale. And then if you look at Starlink or any other option, it will be probably more expensive than doing something like this. But it's always a question of being creative as well and sticking to that value from a company.
Great response. And when I was reading about you and Educate Online, I was fascinated to read that you also have initiatives to support students from low-income families. Tell me a little bit more about this.
So the first value, the most important person in all of that, and the whole company journey and the student's journey is actually the student, right? So we care about the students, we care about their dreams, we care about their aspirations, we care about what they want to contribute to the world. And if we see a student that is really committed, that is really excited about studying internationally and can deliver value to the whole world, basically, we are super open to providing scholarships. We have flexible payments and general comprehensive support to low-income families, because it's really important to set the right goals. I can just give an example. A lot of the families will come and say, we want our kids to study at MIT, but imagine the chances of an Indian student from a low-income family to get a full scholarship at MIT. The chances are there, but they're quite low.
Yeah.
At the same time, there are other universities and colleges that will be willing to support that student. So it's really important to find who that person is, to find out more about them, but also to find which institution can support them on their journey, and to be really realistic about it, not to wear, as we call pink glasses, just to really say, guys, this is what's possible, and you really have high chances here, and to really provide authentic advice and counsel. What we also found that our job, kind of what do we do as a company? We understood that our job is to be an end-to-end solution for the students when it comes to all of their international journeys, when it comes to the school at first, and then looking at the university piece and how they transition to the country of their choice as well. And I think also this level of trust is important with every family.
Well said. My next question is, how do you measure the impact of Educate Online on the lives of students and their future opportunities? And I'm sure in the last few years, you would have seen a lot of students benefiting from all the work they're doing with you.
Yeah, so the first thing we measure is the university admission rate, both locally and internationally. I think this is a number when we look at international kind of students who are applying with us after studying the programs at K-12 level, at high school level, those that are applying with us, the ratio of successful placement, the student to successful placement ratio is basically nearly all of the students getting into the university of their choice. So that's nearly 100%. And that's a really important figure for us because the students will be joining the journey that we are proposing to them with usually a goal of studying at an overseas college or university. At the same time, we look at how are they preparing for that? Because sometimes it might be the parents' idea to send kids abroad for bachelor's or master's, but they're not really motivated to do that. They have other aspirations. And in that case, it will backfire, So we see the engagement, we understand what is behind these numbers as well. Maybe there's a lot of preparation for grade 12 or grade 10 boards happening locally, right? Or maybe there is a family issue or something that, and we need just to give a student some time to address that. So we really look at engagement. And the third thing we look at is the ability of these students to save money through preparing with us. Because what we do is we multiply the chances of getting to the universities of their choice, but we also do the prep and we look at how much actually value in monetary terms are we giving them. And we usually try to give them 10x the value for the X that they're paying. So to give them 10 times more value of our service and product, basically. So of course, we also love to see student satisfaction, to see their pictures and faces, because it's with students, we want to see how they're enjoying their studies. And every time someone gets into a good uni, we salute them, and we are all very cheerful at our offices worldwide. And yeah, that part is hard to measure, but it's really important to feel that because we are doing that work.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And Alex, given the amount of time you've spent in building this global education online business, what do you see as the most significant technological advancements in education over the next few years?
I think a lot of AI will understand what AI will do because now there's so many possibilities. And even when we talk to big funds like Sequoia and the like, we ask them that question, they say there's so many possibilities as well. So I think one of the possibilities is for everyone to have a tutor, a personal tutor, and will greatly amplify the student experience because let's say you're doing homework and you're stuck somewhere, and it's not about getting the right answer, it's about asking the right questions in order for the student to arrive at the end, right? So if they're now Kanigo with Khan Academy is doing exactly that, asking questions with a Socratic method, and therefore helping students to arrive at an answer. That's part one. Second part is all about counseling, because education is not a universe that just exists by itself. It coexists with the world. School education coexists with the world of college and university education, whereas college and university education coexists with the world of work. And there have been major shifts in the world of work, because if we're studying right now and we're going to be working at jobs in 5 years, who knows what kind of jobs will exist at that moment. So the system needs to adapt and to throw out the garbage, basically. There is a lot of, let's say, modules or content that is not really needed for the students, but it's there just because someone has put it there 20, 30 years ago and still not taking it out. The idea is to build a tool that will actually analyze the content and whether it's making sense, on whether the students are learning something. And I think there will be a lot more feedback given to students by the systems, as well as, AI personalized counseling. If everyone had a school counselor that would allow them to kind of get expert advice and guidance where they are now, where they're going later, what kind of opportunities exist for them, because the world is changing. And previously, the parents knew all of the answers. But now, even myself as a parent, once my daughter in a couple of years' time will start saying, I want to be this, I want to be that, I'd love this profession, I think I will understand some part of what she's saying, but a lot of there will be new things, like now bloggers, influencers. Previously, it was a joke. Now it isn't. People are building multi-million-dollar businesses and productizing themselves. So there's a lot of change happening, and the educational system, we don't want to revolutionize it, but we want it to adapt in the best possible way to shape the next generation of humanity.
Very well said. So I have time for 2 more questions, and these 2 questions are for you now, Alex, and not for Educate Online. How has winning the Forbes 30 Under 30 award influenced your career and growth at Educate Online?
Thank you so much. I think the first thing, I was really working hard for a decade, and then I won the award at the age of 29 or 30-ish. So I saw that as a compliment to the hard work and efforts and the intelligence that I was putting into this. Because at first, starting the business has not been an easy journey, especially in the very beginning. Second thing, I think it gives some sort of credibility when it comes to working internationally, and gives access to a community of fellow entrepreneurs who are also aspirational. But I also think that this award is given to people as a sign of promise. So it's kind of Forbes saying that we think these guys can make something happen, and it's sort of a bet that they're placing on us. And I think it's good to be seen as someone who can make that impact. But then it's up to me and up to my team to execute and actually show real results, and to get to the the grown-up Forbes. Although that is not the goal, because the overall goal is to be contributing as much as possible, and also just to be fulfilled and calm and happy and loving, so to say. So yeah, I think it also, even thinking about what I'm saying right now, I think it also gives a different perspective, like what does really matter, right? And at first you want to be in the Forbes list, but then think, is this really what I wanted, so to say? So it's a reevaluation that is currently happening.
Well said. Thank you. And my last question to you, and this is for you, Alex, as an entrepreneur. Our conversation will be heard by thousands of people. What lessons have you learned from your own entrepreneurial journey that a lot of our viewers and listeners can take away from?
I think the first lesson is to be authentic, which means that if you started a company, like, I'm a fun guy, I'm a guy who will make sure that everyone's comfortable in the room. Doesn't matter if they're a cleaner, sales manager, COO, I mean, I'll make sure that everyone is good, so to say, and that they're empowered, and that kind of, and I've led with that, probably the first 3-4 years. Then you have VCs, you have other influence, and you think, now I'll be so results driven, I want to adapt my style a little bit. And once I did that, things started to fall apart. I lost a lot of connect that I had with the team. And I thought I need to lead in a different way. And at the end of the day, I understood kind of it's really important to be authentic to the way I am, and to the way other people are. So not trying to change myself. Of course, there's areas to improve, definitely. But it's really important to understand that this authenticity has gotten us to where we were and where we are, so to say. And another thing, I think it's really important to remember who we are grateful to in that journey, be it parents, grandparents, teachers, suppliers, customers, and just really to express this gratitude both internally and externally as well. To really understand that this is a collective game, collective journey that we are now on, and really to acknowledge people. And thank you so much, Ashutosh. I'm really grateful for this insightful conversation as well.
Thank you. And on that note, Alex, I just want to say, and your 2 amazing lessons, be authentic and demonstrate your gratitude. Thank you so much for speaking to me about your own amazing journey. Thank you for speaking to me at such length about all the amazing things Educate Online is doing in so many different countries, including in India. I'm sure a lot of students are already benefiting and will continue to benefit to be able to achieve a lot of their own dreams because you have been able to provide them such amazing opportunities. Thank you again, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.